After winning this MVP, because it's pretty much wrapped up, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion now that Lamar Jackson has won this year's MVP. My only question is, how would the media rank him now? Not including the fact that this might be his year to win the Super Bowl. Because if you look at the AFC, it's wide open this year. Unless he loses to Cleveland, I don't really see him losing in the AFC. I see him making it to the Super Bowl and given his record against NFC opponents. This might just be his year for a Super Bowl ring, and he might be one of the only players to negotiate for his own contract and get his contract in a contract year when MVP and Super Bowl MVP all in the same season. But let's fast forward. But back to the original question: after this MVP, how's the media gonna rank Lamar Jackson? Because coming into this season, the man already had an MVP, the youngest MVP in NFL history, and they almost didn't want to put him in the top 10. And it was odd because they had guys in the top 10 that hadn't even done anything that he's done yet. He's got his team to the playoffs every year he's been healthy. Well, every year, pretty much since he's been in the league, he's been to the playoffs. And they always point to his bad playoff record, but some of the players that they had above him hadn't even been to the playoffs. Or they don't have a winning record in the playoffs. But they'll point to stats and say, this player he's a better quarterback. Like, what makes him a better quarterback? Because he won the award. He won the award for having the best season for a particular year to give him NFL MVP. So after this year, even if he doesn't do anything in the playoffs, even if, let's say he falls flat on his face in the first round after that first week bye, he still has 2 MVPs. The youngest 2-time MVP. How they gonna rank him? You can't leave him outside you can't leave him outside the top 5, really. And I never understood the argument. I could kind of understand the argument for Joe Burrow over him, but not anybody else last year. Like, even last year coming into this year, they had players like Justin Herbert over him, like Jared Goff over him, Dak was over him. Jared Allen was... what's the boy name? Allen was over him. Pretty much the top 9 or 8 quarterbacks, it was like none of them have done what he's done yet. None of them have gotten their team to the playoffs every year and won an MVP. Aside from Patrick Mahomes. That was the clear-cut number 1 quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. After that, it was like, why can't Lamar be in the top 3? And now, let's say if he wins Super Bowl MVP and finally gets over the hump and win a couple of playoff games. So that's going to throw that narrative out the window that he's a bad playoff performer. Okay, what do we do? Yeah, are they calling him the best quarterback in the league now? Because now he has 2 MVPs, a Super Bowl win, or a Super Bowl win and a Super Bowl MVP. So how are they going to do this now? Like, how are you going to keep him outside of your top 3 now? How are you going to keep him outside of the top 2? It's going to be an argument for him and Mahomes at that point. You can say Mahomes is still better than him with the 2-2, but that's about it. That pretty much puts Lamar in the lock for number 2 with 2 MVPs and a Super Bowl. Like, you can't rank him any lower than that now. So all the stupid arguments that all these analysts have on TV, like, he's got to show me something in the playoffs. He's got to show me something in the playoffs. That argument dies after this year if he wins a Super Bowl. So yeah, that's just a thought that went through my head. What happens if he wins the Super Bowl this year? And what's going to happen to the argument that he's not a top 10 quarterback now that he's a 2-time MVP and the youngest two-time MVP in NFL history.